It's about the I got to say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Gets the ball, gets back, pulls up for the win. Got it! Detroit basketball. Watch the clock, half court for the win. The Lions go for it. The Vikings bring it. The pass is a touchdown to get.
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets.
Javi Baez, homered.
Oh no! Oh no!
This is BS Sports.
I miss when we had a baseball team that was playing in October. That was fun. Anyway, we're back. Welcome to BS Sports. We got a great show, a Victory Tuesday, my favorite kind of Tuesday. And especially right after a Monday Night Football game, you know, the Victory Tuesdays are all the better because the deliciousness of the victory is still fresh. I still am, in a way, it's almost like I've just come to expect it at this point. And maybe that makes me spoiled, but it is what it is. Lions win in prime time. They win on Monday night. They haven't lost a Monday night game since, I believe it was the Cowboy game, but that game, I believe, was on a Saturday evening. So that, I don't even know if technically that counts. But either way, we got a great show. We got a lot on the docket. So we got to jump into it if we want to hit it all. We got NFL stuff to talk, obviously, talking the Lions victory. We got Michigan State playing a rivalry game this weekend, and I could not possibly forge less emotion for this game. We even got the Red Wings right now. I got the Red Wings hat. They play tomorrow night against Buffalo, and they've been playing pretty damn good. So we got to talk about them. And then, of course, NBA tip-off is tonight, so I'm going to give a little bit of a preview, sort of my intro thoughts to the Pistons, what I think they can do, and why I think they legitimately could be one of the teams out of the Eastern Conference to make a run for it. So we got a lot to talk about, but, you know, I'm going to start doing this at the beginning of the show instead of just the end. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. We do live shows every single Tuesday night. We talk all things sports, not just NFL, not just NBA. We talk them all. And sometimes that means I got to talk misery in my baseball team or misery in my college football team. But you know what? It's all for everybody's enjoyment. That's what we do it for. I'm just such a generous person. That's why. So anyway, let's jump into it. First segment of the night. It is the headliner. Lions completely roll the Buccaneers. And look, the final score, you think 24-9. Okay, 15-point win. You think, okay, that's not like crazy. It's a 2-possession lead. It's not crazy. But man, this whole game felt like the Lions playing with their food. Like, you can look at some of the box score stats for, say, Baker Mayfield or K. Dotton or Tez Johnson, and you think, oh, okay, some of these guys, or Emeka Egbubu or whatever, what's his name? Tight end with the brain that doesn't work. Rob Gronkowski, Emeka Egbubu. Whatever. Yeah, you can look at their box score and you can say, wow, they must have pretty good games. No. Those are counting stats. Those are nonsense numbers. Baker Mayfield threw the ball 50 times and he threw for just 228 yards. Baker Mayfield had a terrible game. And going into this game, Baker Mayfield was, and I think, you know, obviously this game has really changed things, but still is considered one of the top quarterbacks, certainly in the NFC, but I'd say even in the league. And this Lions defense completely shut him out. So the first thing I got to shout out is, of course, the defense. I'm going to run through some names, and I want anybody to identify where they have played prior, where they played in college, anything about these human beings, other than the fact that last night they played for the Detroit Lions. We got one Eric Hallett. What about Arthur Mollett? I'm going to be honest, I thought they were the same human being. What about one Tyrus White? Did you have a Thomas Harper appearance on your bingo sheet? A Nick Whiteside appearance on your screen? These are all real human beings, real NFL professional players, and I have to say, basically every single one of them played one of the most incredible games I've ever seen. So as much as I want to give a shout out to each of them individually, I will give them a shout out in aggregate. all of you nameless, faceless human beings, guys who don't have their image on NFL, on Madden, basically. Those guys. Full on shout out to you. As far as the guys that we actually know, I do have a few that I want to point out. Number one is Jack Campbell. I have been probably this year and maybe last year the biggest Jack Campbell slappy. I am the president of the Jack Campbell fan club, and I want this man on the Pro Bowl team. I want this man on the All-Pro team because he is one of the best off-ball linebackers in the NFL, bar none. 8 total tackles, 3 of them solo, had a sack, 2 TFLs, had a pass deflected with the QB hit. He's an off-ball linebacker, and all this guy does is make tackles, make plays. That's all he does. It's incredible. I every time he makes a play, it's just so much fun. I want to see this man get a pick 6 someday. He's just a grinder. He's gutty. He's everything this defense needs to be to win championships. And I could go on and on, but we have to continue. Derek Barnes, another one, totally underrated. One of those, late round finds by Brad Holmes again, who he has hit on. They extended him this offseason. I think a lot of people were kind of skeptical of that because he's coming from an injury. He really only had 1 year of success. Yeah, no, he's building off of that 1 year of success from 2023. He's another one of these guys, one of the better off-ball linebacker. I mean, he can play on the defensive line as well, kind of on the edge role as well. But he had 5 total tackles, 2 of them solo. He had a sack. He had a pass deflected. He played incredibly. And he's been playing incredibly. Him and Jack Campbell, both of them have been playing incredible stuff. And obviously, we have to give the final shout out to my personal hero, the man who every time this guy makes a play, I'm the crazy guy jumping up, then yelling to the mountaintops. Amik Robertson. I don't know what exactly Las Vegas saw in him that they said, you know what? We're not going to sign you, son. I don't know what it was because the Las Vegas Raiders are terrible and they could utilize any player who has any level of poise or gutsiness or toughness or anything that imbibes the Raider spirit. He is perfect for the Raiders, and yet they let him walk. And so we took him, and he has been perfect for the Lions. Honestly, I know this guy doesn't start. He's a depth piece. So he comes in when, TA goes off or DJ Reed goes off or vice versa. He is just a dog, and he has locked down some of the best receivers in the NFL in just the past couple of seasons. No, don't forget last year, he was holding down Justin Jefferson, who is without a doubt one of, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL. And he was locking him down, the backup corner, with basically no D-line help to that either. On top of that, you also have him locking down, I believe he was on Mike Evans or Emeka Egbuka. He was on one of those guys. He was on everybody. He had the knocked out fumble. It's just great. He's incredible. I love him. He's great. Everything about him. I could continue to sing his praises. This defense performed all out, and you got to give credit to Kelvin Shepard. His game plan was incredible. His game plan was amazing. To be able to take this group of guys and completely shut down one of the top offenses in the league to that point is just truly incredible. A team that had not lost a road game, a team that stayed in football games and are the kings of that late game rally. To have your defense go out there and put them put them below double digits in points and just 1 touchdown total is incredible. Incredible. Moving on to the slightly less good, because I have more to say. Slightly less good. And the reason I'm saying slightly less good, because I don't want to say it was bad, but it wasn't amazing. The offense. Now, Jared Goff did not play an amazing game. 20 for 29, 241 yards, touchdown and a pick. Not amazing, but honestly not terrible. About a mediocre night, I'd say. Not blowing you out of the water, not making these incredible, passes, but a pretty decent night. Okay? Jahmyr Gibbs, on the other hand, had one of the greatest nights I've ever seen from a single player in a Detroit Lions uniform ever. 82 yards in the air. But wait, there's more. He also had 136 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. When he was drafted, the description that Brad Holmes, general manager of the Lions, described him as was that he was a weapon. And at the time, I was very nervous because we were just coming off our 9-8 season. We needed to really upgrade our defense. We needed, we just needed to establish ourselves. And I was nervous about taking a running back in the first round, let alone someone who was considered the second best running back in the class behind Bijan Robinson. I am willing to confidently say that Jahmyr Gibbs is certainly the best running back in that draft class. I think he is better than Bijan Robinson. And I'm willing to say he's probably the best running back in the NFC, and it's not particularly close. Because Saquon Barkley, I don't know what's going on. All right, if Philadelphia chooses they do not want to utilize him, that's fine. I don't know why they don't want to use him, but it seems that they don't want to use him. That's fine. Then I'll just let Jahmyr Gibbs get the All-Pro because this guy is just incredible. And he has these games, and we've been looking for this kind of a game where he goes all out and, has the 70-yard running bomb that he had the big 30-yard gain on the screen pass where he almost took it all the way to the house. He does this, and he is instrumental to this offense being successful. Amon-Ra also had a great game, as per usual, 6 catches, 86 yards with a touchdown. Was it perfect? Again, no. The offensive line didn't really give Jared Goff a whole lot of time. Granted, Tampa Bay was blitzing, it seemed like, every third down. There was not a whole lot of time for Jared Goff to make those plays, but his struggles were not enough to have them lose the game. He played well enough to allow them to stay in the game and win the game. And when they needed a big drive, like they did in the third quarter, Jared put together a very good drive. And that was, in tandem with some screen passes to Gibbs. It was in tandem with some nice throws to the tight ends in Laporta and Brock Wright. It was not a beautiful game. It was not a perfect game, but you don't have to win perfect in this league. And people need to get comfortable saying that. We're not going to drop 50 points on every single opponent like we were doing last year, where we had, 3 games where we had 50 points, where we dropped a bomb on Dallas, dropped a bomb on Tennessee, dropped a bomb on Jacksonville. That's not going to happen. And certainly not going to happen against a Todd Bowles defense and a Buccaneer team that is very feisty and has always played the Lions very, very tough. But all of that being said about the game itself, going into your bye, you are 5-2. That is very, very good, especially considering this schedule was supposed to be the thing that was going to inhibit this team from looking like they did last year. They've got the same amount of losses they had last year. Not at this time, obviously, but they've got the same amount of losses going into their bye. Here are some stats for you at the bye. For the offense, it is 3rd in points per game, 9th in yards per game, 5th in rushing yards per game. For the defense, it is 8th in yards per game and 5th in rushing yards per game. They also have They are also 4th in turnover differential with the 6th most interceptions and 3rd most takeaways overall. Tell me this isn't a Super Bowl team. Seriously, I don't think we have to say it. And look, I know it's not a hot take. This isn't exactly a hot take, YouTube. Yeah, but that's a Super Bowl team that we're looking at. And they're coming into form. And the thing that is going to put a lot of fear into the other teams in the NFC, we're not even healthy. We played this game without Brian Branch, without Kirby Joseph. Aleem McNeil was on limited snaps. Just you wait. DJ Reed, he's going to be coming back soon. Terrion Arnold, he's going to be coming back soon. Once we start getting some guys, and that's not even to include, the potential of some add-ons at the trade deadline, which I am almost certain are going to be there, just based on the fact that, even in 2023, Brad Holmes has always added at least something at the trade deadline. Now, granted, Donovan Peoples-Jones was not exactly a huge move, but it was a move nonetheless. I am more and more confident that this team is not only capable of making the Super Bowl, but certainly capable of winning it. Because I look around at the other teams, and obviously we lost to the Chiefs last week. There's no getting around that. If we play the Chiefs again, do you really think that we would lose that game in the same way we did last time? I really don't think so. I think you run that game back, I think Detroit could very, very well roll. And certainly if you run that game back in a neutral site, let alone if they ran it back in Ford Field, I think the Lions would roll that game. At the very least, they would win the game. Maybe not necessarily by 15 points like they did against Tampa Bay, but I digress. This team is very, very good. And I don't think I needed to see them win this game to prove that to myself. But knowing that you got Minnesota at home after you come home from the bye, you got Washington on the road. That's going to be a revenge game from last year's divisional round. You got at Philadelphia after that. If you beat Philadelphia, I don't want to hear about other teams in the NFC. I really do not. Because you beat Philadelphia, you beat the reigning Super Bowl champs at home, Sunday Night Football, then there will be no debate. This team is a Super Bowl caliber team, and anything short of them winning the Super Bowl will be a disappointment. So, great stuff going into your bye, feeling good. Just get healthy and, don't get arrested. Anybody on the team, please. Don't do anything stupid. Those are some very big championship rings for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Do they always broadcast the championship ceremony on the opening night game? I don't remember. Anyway, I wanted to at least get a look at this NBC NBA coverage because this is the first time they've been doing NBA coverage literally since I've been alive. They have not done it since before I was alive. Oh, here's the banner. They're reacting as if they were like, "Oh, it says Oklahoma City. That's what it says." Oh, now some of them are touching it. Is that what is this like a? I guess it's been a while since the Pistons have won. I don't remember them touching the banner. I didn't know that was like a thing. Anyway. Bacon Bombs, what's going on, brother? JJ over Chase any day? Yeah, I would pretty much agree. I like Jamar Chase. I'm going further. I love Jamar Chase. But yeah, I think Justin Jefferson is just better. And maybe it is because we're Lions fans and we play Justin Jefferson a whole lot more. But it just seems like every time we play him, except for last week, and honestly, frankly, the last couple of times we've played him, we've managed to do a pretty good job against him. But that guy, it's like he always just has one or two plays where you're just like, oh my gosh, how did we let him get that wide open? And it's not even that we're letting him get that wide open. It's just that he's able to get that wide open because he's that good. Yeah, I think he continues to be the best receiver in the game. But, you got to also consider Amon-Ra. I mean, all Amon-Ra does is make catches. I know they're different kinds of receivers. Jefferson's more of that speedy, take the top off a defense kind of guy, but I don't know, man. Maybe the kind of slot, slant route guys. I don't know. All right. Speaking of things that I do not know, let's get into the rest of the NFL this week, shall we? Thursday Night Football. Got to talk about the Unk Bowl, which is what they're calling this. Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco. I was thinking, if you would have told me that Thursday Night Football featured Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers, let's say about 12, maybe 13 or just 11 years ago, if you would have told me that was going to be Thursday Night Football, that would have been must-see TV. But now it's just like sad TV. It's just like watching. Oh gosh, these teams, man. You want to talk about the mid-off? This is the mid-off. These two teams are not good, and I will not be convinced otherwise. People are, the Steelers are 4-2. Okay, you can have fun with that. I know it's late in the year when the Lions will end up playing the Steelers. I got a feeling by that point the Lions are gonna rip their freaking heads off. But anyway. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Bengals, just given the fact, okay, Joe Flacco, different Joe. It's weird that they got two quarterbacks that are Joe. Joe Flacco threw for 342 yards, 3 touchdowns. I don't know if I'm comfortable saying this, but they're 3-4 right now. If Joe Flacco can just kind of keep them afloat, are the Bengals gonna sneak their way in? I'm just saying. I'm just saying they got a really good offense. We've known this. Their offense is good. They got, Chase Brown on the ground. He's really good. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You got some nice weapons there. I'm just saying, maybe the secret to them winning is throw the ball to Jamar Chase 23 times like they did. He got 161 yards and a touchdown. That seems like a winning strategy to me. I don't know, man. And Joe Flacco, do I think it's going to long-term work out? No, of course not. They don't think it's going to work out long-term. But if they can get themselves to, 9-8, could they sneak into the playoffs? It's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, even just a look ahead. Let's look at their schedule. I'm curious. I mean, they got the Jets and the Bears at home the next couple of weeks. 2 very winnable games. Jets, certainly, because that team is a dumpster fire. Bears, look, they're kind of an unproven team. It's going to be an interesting game for both of those teams. And then you get the Steelers on the road again, a team you just beat. So, look, your next 3 weeks, the last, week of October going into halfway through November, they got some shots here. Now, granted, it doesn't get much easier, or it doesn't get much, it gets a little harder from there. They got the Patriots, the Ravens, the Bills on the road. Well, the Ravens, who knows? They might be kind of falling apart there. So that might actually end up being a win. Oh, man, Ravens on Sunday Night Football. That is going to be it. I don't know if they can flex games in late November, but I really hope they do, because there's no way anyone is going to want to watch a Cooper Rush, Joe Flacco, Ravens, Bengals. Although it would be kind of funny, a Joe Flacco revenge game against his old team, the Ravens. So, yeah. But anyway, they got 2 games against the Ravens still to play. They got games against the Jets. They got a game against the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Browns. I'm just saying, they might be able to do it. They might be able to do it. They might. They probably won't do it. But it is what it is. Love Amon-Ra, comparable to Chase. I would agree with that. I think they're very similar kinds of receivers. Chase is a little, I think Chase is still kind of that take the top off, but he's got a similar route tree, I think, to Amon-Ra. I think it's our lucky half to not be in the NFC. Yeah. No, they're lucky to not have. If they were in the NFC North, they'd be dead. Let's be honest, they would just be dead. But they're not. They're in the AFC North. So, see, but here's my thing: is he coming back? I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Ravens right now are what? They're 1-5. Like, is it even worth it? Like, I don't want to be mean, but like, why would you bother? Yeah, you're 1-5 right now for Baltimore, and I don't know if he's coming back this week. If they lose to the Bears, oh man, Cooper Rush, can you do your thing, please? I need the Bears to start losing. That's crazy, man. Their only win is against the Browns. The Browns. And to think if they didn't blow that game against Buffalo, man. Crazy. Crazy. Anyway. I want to do something a little different, though, on this NFL recap here as we move along. I got a question I got 3 teams, okay? And my question is this. Are these teams real / which of these teams is the most real, okay? We're going to start, speaking of, with the Chicago Bears. So Chicago, they get a nice win over the Saints this past weekend, 26-14. Not a completely outclassing, dominating win, but a good win. They played pretty well. They played well. They beat a bad team. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to be mean, but they beat a bad team. Caleb Williams did not play a particularly great game on the stat sheet, 15 for 26 with an interception, no touchdowns. DeAndre Swift had a nice game, 124 yards on the ground. I don't know. Like they're at least they're an interesting team, and I'm not sure how real this is. I mean, just looking at their schedule, they've won 4 straight, which gives you some confidence. But you look at who they beat. Okay, Cowboys at home, just coming off of 50 getting 50 points dropped on them by Detroit. You're like, okay, well, at least they show some bounce back life there. Okay, not bad. Then they beat the Raiders by 1. Okay. And that was that crazy. I think they blocked the field goal or something. That was a crazy game that they barely won that game. And the Raiders are terrible. But you know what? A win is a win. It's on the road. So, enemy territory, the whole shebang. Then you go on the road and you beat Washington. Similar kind of deal where, ball bounces your way, fumble from Jaden Daniels on a handoff. They get the football, walk off, field goal, the whole shebang. Then they beat New Orleans. And New Orleans is terrible. And I don't need to get into just how terrible they are. They're very bad. They're going to play the Ravens this week in Baltimore. And the question will be, of course, is Lamar Jackson playing? If he's not playing and they win this game, like, what are you gonna take away from this? Other than, okay, yeah, they keep winning, but outside of maybe the Cowboys game or maybe the Commanders game, even the Commanders game, they win it by not a fluke exactly, but stuff that is not exactly in their control. It wasn't like they forced a fumble. It was Jaden Daniels bobbles a handoff and they fall on it. Look, they're not really, I don't think, going to get challenged here for a while. So they can string together some wins and get themselves back into it. So I think from just a win-losses standpoint, yeah, I think they're probably real. But it's going to be a lot harder than just, wins on paper. You're going to have to go out there and actually perform it. And you're going to need Caleb Williams to step up because I very well could see them lose this Ravens game, especially if Lamar Jackson's playing. I don't know what his status is going to be. Heck, even the Bengals game on the road with Joe Flacco, he might be able to put together one of the games that he had just put together this past week against Pittsburgh. So I don't know. It's an interesting question. Team number 2 that I want to talk about is the New England Patriots. Let's see. Where are our favorite team? New England, they went into Tennessee and they dropped a bomb on the Titans. Drake May is playing really, really well. This past week, 21 for 23, 2 touchdowns, 222 yards. He does take a few too many sacks, 4 sacks. Obviously, I don't know. I don't watch these Patriots games, so I can't tell you if he should be taking those sacks or what the situation is. But they're 5-2, and by the way, in case you missed it, they're in first place in their division. Looking ahead at their schedule as well, they got the Browns this week. That's not going to be a very hard game offensively, but the Browns are a tough team to play defensively. It'll probably be Drake May's biggest challenge since maybe Pittsburgh as far as defense goes. After that, they got the Falcons. They got the Buccaneers on the road. That's going to be a tough game. They got the Jets at home, the Bengals on the road. Like, their schedule, you look at it just on paper, you could see them kind of running away with this division just because they've got that, win over Buffalo. And if Buffalo does not put it together, they could mess around and find out New England very well could be back, which is crazy to think. You mentioned it here, Bacon Bombs. Buffalo looking lost. Yeah, their defense is just not good. And granted, they got a bye week this week, so maybe they can collect themselves and get back on track. But yeah, they are not looking like the team that I expected them to look like this year, which was a Super Bowl caliber team. Not that they aren't that right now, but it's further away from Super Bowl than it is to Super Bowl, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, as far as the Patriots go, do I think they're real? Kind of a similar answer to the Browns, but I'm a little more confident in them because I think Drake May is just a better quarterback than Caleb Williams. I think they very well could be legit. And based on that schedule, they're going to be able to string together a series of wins here. Like, I don't think they're losing to the Browns. I don't really know if they can lose to the Falcons. You lose to the Bucks, you're not losing to the Jets because the Jets are just so bad. They're just so bad. And meanwhile, Bill Belichick is still somehow employed at North Carolina, which is, I'm sure, a joy to many Patriots fans. All right. The last team I wanted to ask this on was the Indianapolis Colts. All right. Now, I might get in trouble for this, okay? I might be considered mean or rude or a hater. I could be. I very well could be. I'm willing to take that. I don't believe in this Colts team. I don't. I know that they're 6-1. I know. Who the heck have they beaten? You want me to tell you their wins? All right, I'll tell you. Just because you asked so kindly. The Dolphins, whom are terrible. The Broncos, whom they got bailed out on because of a dummy penalty by the Broncos. The Titans, who are terrible. The Raiders, who are terrible. The Cardinals, who are terrible. And the Chargers, who granted are not terrible, but are rattled with a lot of injuries. So there's that. And looking ahead at their schedule, the toughness, I'd say, starts in a couple of weeks, but really they don't have a whole lot of toughness. So that's why I don't want to say they're totally fake in as much as they're just going to fall off here. But I don't really consider them one of the top teams in the AFC. I don't. I don't. Maybe that's me being mean. It is what it is. Looking at their schedule, though, they got the Titans on the road this Sunday. They got the Titans at home, I should say. Steelers on the road. Falcons at home. Chiefs on the road. That's probably the toughest game ahead for them. Texans at home. Jaguars on the road. Seahawks on the road. That could be a tough game. Seattle's looking pretty good this year. 49ers on the road. Jaguars on the road. 49ers at home. Jaguars at home. Texans on the road. Will they make the playoffs? Probably. Okay, they'd have to really collapse. It's hard to start 6-1 and not make the playoffs. You know, even if you end up limping as 9-8, you probably make the 7 seed based on some tiebreakers that you might have with some of the other teams. But look, this division for them, it's right there for them. The Texans are awful. And the Jaguars, I don't know what Jaguar team I'm going to get from a week-to-week basis. Am I going to get the team that beat the Chiefs on Monday Night Football? Or am I going to get the team that got murdered in London? I don't know. Probably more so the latter than the former, because I just don't think that Trevor Lawrence is really that guy. Now, granted, I don't really think Daniel Jones is really that guy, but the idea that Daniel Jones is just coming in and he's going to be the solution for them at quarterback when they had to bench Anthony Richardson's bum ass, I find it very hard to believe that this is a true AFC Super Bowl contender. I love the Colts. I have a great admiration for the Colts. I love their organization. When the Colts are good, it's fun. Okay, I like Peyton Manning as a kid. I love the uniforms. I love Indianapolis. So I do want them to be good, but I also have to be honest with them. And when I look at their team and when I look at what they've got, I don't believe. I don't. And maybe I'm just a mean person. Maybe I can't stand that there's another blue and white team out there, but I can't do it. All right, I can't. So, yeah, that's the only team that I think is fake of those three. Or at least fully, feasting off of these teams. Now, if they go out and they lose to the Steelers and they lose to the Chiefs, and let's say they split with the Jaguars and they lose to the Seahawks and maybe even lose to the 49ers, this could be okay, now we see what's going on. It's a lot of empty calories. But, as it stands, one of the top teams in the AFC. So, play like it, basically. Bills feel like a low-end playoff team right now. Rather than Super Bowl bound like beginning of the year, Kincaid is hurt. Yeah, I know. I know Kincaid is hurt. Because I got him in fantasy. You know who else I have in fantasy? Omari and Hampton. Thanks, Los Angeles. I had to start Kenneth Gainwell at running back this week on fantasy. And you know what's crazy? I actually had a pretty good week. One problem. I ran into Christian McCaffrey dropping a 40 bomb. Civil rights icon Christian McCaffrey came into my house and pooped right in my toilet while I was looking at him. He forced me to watch. It's one of the most excruciating experiences of my life. It's a terrible experience. I would not recommend it. But yeah, so that's my week in fantasy football. That was tough. It's I think so. Let me see if I can pull up the standings. In the league, yeah. So they're technically the number one team. They're 6-1. See, this is why I can't believe in a lot of these teams. So the Lions are below that. Now, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, to be honest with you. I'm sure this is ESPN, so I don't think this is like official. Lions are below Tampa Bay because they're tied with them. They got the same record. So you got Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, who I don't believe is real. I didn't put them on the list, but I don't believe they're real. New England, Green Bay, and Indianapolis. This is why the NFL season is more than 2 months, right? This is why. Because are the Denver Broncos really one of the top 5 teams, top 6 teams in the NFL? Do we really think that? No, we don't really think that. Are even the Packers in that camp? The only reason they're even that high is because of that stupid tie that they ended up with Dallas. That's the only reason. Because Matt LaFleur got bailed out by his bum quarterback throwing with 1 second left. Like, it's the only reason. The only reason. But yeah, the Colts are technically in first place. Technically. But it's not real. All right? It's Fugazi. It's a mirage. You can't have a quarterback that's good who played for Duke. It doesn't exist. All right? They got to go to a real football school. They got to go to like Cal or notice how I'm naming the school that my quarterback went to. They got to go to like Cal or Georgia or like, heck, I'll say Michigan or, Ohio, maybe not Ohio State. Trying to think of some other good quarterback schools. Notre Dame. I don't know. The one thing's for sure, they can't go to Duke. All right, give me that crap. Basketball school. I don't even think they know they have a football field. Do they play inside the basketball stadium? They probably do. I bet you they do. All right. So moving on, we will get into some hockey and some NBA in a little bit. And then I'll briefly touch base on the World Series, no pun intended, just because I thought it was worth noting. But I do have to just say this about Michigan State because I feel obligated to at least acknowledge the fact that Michigan State does technically have a football team. Now, of course, you wouldn't know that based on their performance this weekend against Indiana, where they got just mollywopped. It was not a close game. They were winning at one point. I was listening to the radio because I was driving out to a friend's place. I was listening to the game, as I do, because I'm just a total glutton for punishment. And by the time I got out of the car, Michigan State was up 10-3. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe we can play a little spoiler ball. Be a little interesting. Play the role of Purdue. No. We scored. We got 10-3, and that was about the last time we scored. Yeah, it's bad. And look, I already pretty much said it last week. Jonathan Smith needs to go. It's not, he could be a good coach, but not here. It's not the right fit. He clearly seems uninterested, unmotivated. Like, there's just the vibes are off. That's the feeling I get. It just is not good. And once again, you get trounced and nothing changes. No defensive coordinator getting fired, no personnel changes, like no starters being, like nothing. You get nothing. It's just they get murdered and it's all right, well, just keep it going, basically. Just roll it out. And they got a rivalry game this weekend, in case you didn't know. They're playing the University of Michigan, who is number 25 in the country. Going into this game after a big win on Big Noon against Washington at home. I just could not care. I could not care less. And that is an indictment on this Michigan State football program. Normally, even last year, I had more emotion going into this game because, frankly, I thought there was much more of a chance of us winning the game. So maybe you say, oh, you're just a fair weather fan. Whatever. Call me whatever you want, man. Call me the Queen of England, if that's what you want to call me. If you think that I have to watch this game because I happen to go to the school and because I am a fan, I'm sorry. I have other things that I'd rather do. It's an entertainment product. The point of sports is to be entertaining, is to keep my attention, and they're not putting together something that I think is worth putting my eyeballs on. I don't. So I guess I'd be happy if Michigan State wins. I would rather they win than lose, especially against Michigan. But if I have no reason to believe they will. They haven't won a Big Ten game in like a year. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time they won big. I think the last Big Ten game they won, could be wrong about this, was it the Iowa game? Please don't tell me it was the Iowa game. Hold on. No way. MSU football. Let's see. Can we get MSU football history? Here we go. When was their last Big Ten? Like, they haven't won one this year. Let's see. GD schedule and results. When was the last time they beat a Big Ten team? Let's see. They beat Purdue. That's right. They beat Purdue. A game they should have blown them out in, but they managed to just somehow get a win there. 24-17. That's right. That game ended up being real close at the very end. And that was November 22nd. So we're almost a year away from the last time Michigan State has beaten a Big Ten team. That's bad. Okay, but I was right. The one before that was Iowa. Last time we beat a Big Ten opponent at home or on the road, though, was the Maryland game, which was over a year ago. We have not beaten a Big Ten team on the road since we beat Maryland on September 7th, the day before my birthday. How fitting. Happy birthday, Mike. That's your birthday present. You're not going to win another Big Ten game on the road. Fun. All right. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I got no juice going into this. Fire the coach. Fire everybody. Just start over. It's not working. Whatever it is they're doing is not working. Do what Indiana did, man. I don't know. Find your version of Kurt Signetti. If Indiana can build a playoff team, heck, a national championship contending team, then I don't know, man. There's no excuse for Michigan State to be like this. Just none. Just none. But to be a little bit more positive, let's have a little bit of positivity, okay? Let's talk about the Detroit Red Wings. Now, if you have been a viewer of this program for at least a year, you would know I have been a bit critical of the Steve Yzerman tenure. I went into this season saying Steve Yzerman should have been fired. And to be honest with you, I still kind of feel that way. But he at least can earn his way back. All right? He can earn his way back in as much as the team can have some success. With that being said, very early into the year, the Red Wings have been a train. So they start the year, they get blown out 5-1 to the Montreal Canadiens. I was not happy. I was like, oh, here we go again. This is going to be it, right? This is going to be my life as a Detroit hockey fan. After that, Tom McClellan, I don't know what the heck he told these guys, but he got them scared straight. I don't know if he told them that they're going to get cut if they ever play like that again, and he's going to find a way to make sure they don't get their guaranteed money. I don't know what he told them, but he managed to motivate these guys to turn it on, and turn it on they did. 6-3 win against Toronto at home. 3-2 win against Toronto on the road. 4-1 win against Florida at home. 2-1 overtime win against Tampa Bay at home. And then a 4-1 win against Edmonton at home. If you missed it, those are all teams that made the playoffs last year. And two of them made the Stanley Cup last year. You trounced the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion team. Granted, dealing with a lot of injuries, but it is what it is. And there's a few reasons for this. Some young talent. Finally, some of the young talent that I have been, told about for years and years, finally coming into play. You got Emmett Finney. You got Sandin Pellikka. You got Branson Nygaard. Now, granted, both Pellikka and Branson Nygaard, from a points production perspective, a little quiet, but that's all right. That's all right. They are allowed to do that because they have been insulated by guys like Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat, and Lucas Raymond. Granted, he's been hurt the last couple of games, so we'll see if he'll be back this Wednesday against Buffalo. But look, this Wings team, they're playing well, and I can't deny that. And while it is still early, it does matter to kind of get off on a good note. We saw how last season ended. We talked about the way this team just felt like they quit late in that season, especially after an awful trade deadline. This year, they have brought something. And I don't know if it is just the youthful energy. I don't know if it's the new head coach. Obviously, he was brought in the middle of the season last year. And, finally he has a way to kind of put his program into these guys. It's working so far. I can't deny that. Here's the thing. A lot of times, I've seen this before. Teams will start off hot. They'll look good. And then, that dreaded month, that dreaded time of the year, March. It comes marching, no pun intended, along. And frankly, also underratedly, December is another month that the Red Wings have typically struggled. Is like after Thanksgiving, they just realize, actually, you know what, we're going to start losing games. Hopefully they don't do that. But look, you have to take it just one game at a time, obviously. You got a couple of road games coming up back-to-back nights. You got Buffalo and you got the Islanders. Neither of those teams are very good. I fully expect the Red Wings to be able to at least split those two games. You come back at home to play the Blues. I don't really know what kind of a team the Blues are right now. Still very early for them as well. They were a playoff team last year, but they're kind of a weird team. Then you go back on the road to play the Blues. And you got your California trip with Kings and Ducks on back-to-back nights to end the year. Wow. End the month. This is a interesting young team, needless to say. And if finally the solution is that we just have these young players come up through the prospects, look, I've said it before, I don't really care how it is you build a winning team. But obviously, given we're in year 7? Or I think so. I think it'd be year 7, 2019. Yes, but 2026 season. So yeah, this would be 7 years into it. You have to make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, then I don't think anybody would have any excuse. Then you got to fire the coach, right? There's no way. So, or fire the coach, fire the GM. I mean, sure, I guess you can fire the coach too. I guess you don't have to do that. We'll see. And none of these guys, even at the top of their stat sheet, and Larkin and DeBrincat, none of these guys are those superstar difference maker type players that you see on the contending teams like the Floridas, like the Edmontons, like even the Carolinas and Vegases of the world. None of these guys are at the top level of those teams. But if you can put something together, if you can glue together the right guys, the right fit with the right system, maybe you can get yourself into the playoffs. Hey, Montreal got into the playoffs last year. And, Lane Hudson notwithstanding, they didn't really have anybody that I would say is a, playmaking superstar. Maybe Suzuki. I don't know. Either way, it's not the same as, the McDavids of the world or the Dreisaitl's or what have you. This Red Wings team doesn't have those guys. Maybe they don't need those guys. Maybe they can just win it by grit and toughness and et cetera, Detroit talking points. We'll see. I will say, I doubt that Mason Appleton is going to last as your big-time goal scorer. I mean, heck, speaking of goal scorers, Alex DeBrincat has yet to get a goal all year. He's your second leader in points. So, we'll see. It's early, but the early results are good. So I figured I'd give them some credit. See, I'm nice to the Red Wings sometimes. Sometimes. I'm nice when they deserve it. How about that? All right. Last two segments. Let's rock and roll. The NBA is back, so keeping an eye here on this Thunder Rockets game on NBC. I'm just happy that we got Mike Tirico calling basketball games again. That's a beautiful, beautiful sight. I do wonder how that's going to work. Like, I guess if they better not have any games on Sunday, because Tirico's obviously not going to be doing those games. But right now, Thunder up 13-12. Anyway, let's talk about the Pistons. I mentioned it earlier at the beginning of the show. Can the Pistons take over the East? And just looking at their roster, they're coming back with a very similar roster to what they had last year. Obviously, you got Cade, you got Duran, you got Thompson, you got Holland. You're going to get Ivy back. Here's the thing. Ivy's going to be out for the next 4 weeks. And you're pretty much going to be running basically the same team as you did last year. You didn't make a big splashy move in the offseason. I think the thought process behind it was the guys you have in the locker room are who you need. Like, you are going to promote from inside. You're going to allow for the development of your own guys, and that's going to be your big splash. Fine enough. I really didn't have a huge problem with their offseason because I think it was very similar to I'm trying to think of, like, the Tigers a couple of years ago. Like, you're trying to see what you got. There's no reason to go all in like crazy. Like, going into this year for the Tigers, there was no reason to just package it all in and go for something huge. Now, I would have liked if they addressed the hitting a little bit more, but anyway, not to get on the Tigers. I am a little concerned with Ivy, at least in as much as, okay, you're going to not have him to start. You obviously are out Malik Beasley, who was fantastic for them. You're going to be out Tim Hardaway, who was also very good for them. This team is going to rely heavily on the development of one, Ron Holland, and two, Asar Thompson, and frankly, Jalen Duren to that extent. Cade Cunningham is a superstar caliber player. We saw it last year. He can take over games. He can be that MVP caliber player. There's a reason they took him number 1 overall. I don't know. When I look at this, I wouldn't be surprised if they start off a little bit slow, but kind of work their way through. I do think they could take over the Central. Wow. The Eastern Conference, though. Because here's the thing. Boston, they're going to be out Tatum. Indiana Pacers. I was going to say Indianapolis, the Indiana Pacers. They're going to be without Tyrese Halliburton. Who really is the threat in the Eastern Conference? Like Cleveland? Yeah, sure. I'd be willing to say Cleveland is a tough team. The Pistons struggle to play them pretty much all year. Milwaukee, no more Damian Lillard. And Giannis, it just feels like he just wants to leave and never come back. Orlando, they went out. They got, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the guy's name. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. The big fella. Oh, what is his name? Hold on. I'm just going to pull up their roster. I'm just going to pull them up. Where are they? I just saw them. Hold on. There they are. What is his name? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Do not tell me what his name is. Oh, they got Jace Richardson. That's pretty cool. Where is he? Wendell Carter. Desmond Bain. Okay. They got Desmond Bain. That was probably the big move of their offseason. They're a good team. I think, frankly, for the Eastern Conference, it could be between Orlando and Detroit. Philadelphia, no. Like Brooklyn, no. Atlanta, no. I think this is a very wide open Eastern Conference. Very similar, I think, to the Tigers this year, where it was a kind of an open American League. I think this is a very open Eastern Conference. And Cade Cunningham is very good. They start the year at Chicago. Then they go on the road to Houston. Then they get a homestand between Boston, Cleveland, Orlando. First of all, obviously, if you can split that road trip, I'll be happy about that. You should definitely beat Chicago. Chicago's terrible. Houston, look, we'll see. They bring in Kevin Durant. They're probably going to be one of the better teams out of the Western Conference. Very disappointing team in the playoffs last year. But Boston, if you can go out and beat Boston, your home opener on Sunday, I'm gonna feel good about that. Then you got Cleveland at home on Peacock, national broadcast. You beat them. Now we're talking. You beat Orlando then? Now we can talk about, this team very well can make a run. Now, granted, long NBA season. Eventually you'll get Ivy back. Let's see, if it's about 4 weeks from when the season starts, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly mid-November at the earliest. Who knows if he ends up being that way? It might be a little bit later than exactly 4 weeks. Ideally, it's pretty much exactly 4 weeks. But that's going to put you could stay above water. You should be fine. But either way, the Pistons, to their credit, look, they got a lot more national broadcasts because of their performance last year. I mean, I'm just going up and down from the TV standpoint. They got Peacock game on Monday, the 27th. They got a Peacock game against the Mavs. They got a Peacock game against the Wizards. They got an NBC game against Atlanta, ESPN against Boston, Peacock against New York, NBC against Boston, Prime Video against Houston. I don't even know what MNMT is. I don't know what that is, but they got one of those games. You got another Prime Video game against New York, Prime Video game against New York. I'm beginning to notice a pattern here, guys. Peacock game against San Antonio, ESPN game against Cleveland, ESPN game against Atlanta. They got a bunch of NBA TV games. I still don't know what MNMT is. What is that? I don't know. Either way, it's a good Pistons team. I'm excited for this season. I think Duncan Robinson, especially, he was one of my favorite acquisitions for them this offseason, one of their few. I think he's going to make a big impact as far as floor spacing goes. On a scale of 1 to 10 for my confidence level, I'm probably at about a 7.5. I think they definitely could make noise. I'm not saying that they will make noise, but certainly that they could make noise in the Eastern Conference, just based on the fact that it's just that wide open. So it's gonna be a fun season, I would imagine. Who is that? Who is that man in the hat? Serge Ibaka. Okay. He looks like okay. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know why celebrities, athletes, mostly athletes, I guess some celebrities, I don't know why they decide they want to dress up like something out of a Saturday morning cartoon, but they just love to do that. Look up anything Cam Newton has worn in the last 5 to 6 years, and it's basically the Mad Hatter. All right. Can I expect a funeral stream for MSU Saturday night? No, you cannot. I already had plans that day. I had made these plans before I realized that it was the Michigan State game. But no, you cannot expect that. You can expect a funeral, that's for sure, but it won't be this Saturday. I've been pretty good. Thank you for asking, Jimmy. Other than my college football team being terrible, at least my pro football team is great. I have that going. So, all right. Finally, before we get to the picks, I just wanted to briefly mention. So the World Series is set. It's going to be Blue Jays versus Dodgers. So it's Canada versus LA, which is probably my least favorite possible matchup. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, that is what we're dealing with. I just want to give a shout out to the Mariners because they eliminated the Tigers. And unfortunately for them, they remain the lone team to have never made a World Series. And to lose that Game 7 the way they did, got to be one of the most brutal ways to lose a baseball game. Truly. Like top 5 worst ways to lose a baseball game. You're up 3-1 late in the game. I think it was the 7th, maybe the 8th inning. You're single-digit amount of outs away from getting the American League Championship and going to face the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series, the West Coast matchup. And they blow that game to a 3-run home run from George Springer, who as Mariners fans probably remember, was a Houston Astro and was a living nightmare for them. So I got to tell you, I don't know what I would do in that situation. I've never really, even when the Tigers were good, they didn't have a whole lot of game sevens that they took part in. Obviously, that game 5 loss in back-to-back years, that's pretty brutal. But a game 7, you were up 2-0 in the series going back home. They scrap back. Then you go up 3-2. They force a game 7 in Toronto. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. Sports will do this to you. You'll have your just heart ripped out of you. And you just hate that. You hate that for Seattle because they really are a pretty good sports town. The Seahawks, they got some good fans. The Supersonics, when they were there, apropos with the Oklahoma City Thunder, they were very popular, made the finals, and won the finals at least once. And the Kraken, I think, are at least a cool team. I don't know how good they are, but they're at least a cool team. They made the playoffs a couple of years ago. First season. Expansion team. Fun. They got to bring the Supersonics back, man. Those uniforms are too good to not. Do they at least does Oklahoma City at least have like an alternate with the Supersonic colors? Like, I think they got a pretty cool design now, but like their logo, OKC's logo is just terrible. Like, why are they even called the Thunder? Their logo is just like it's like a guitar pick with a basketball on it. It's just so lame. So lame. I say you can't win the NBA Finals unless you have a cool logo. I say. Unfortunately, for most NBA teams, that's going to really impede them. Maybe I should look this up. I want to look this up. NBA standings. Who would win the logo? Okay. Well, Chicago Bulls, that's a pretty good logo. It's a classic. I wouldn't say it's like the most amazing logo. I always love the Miami Heat logo. I think that's a great logo. I think the Orlando Magic logo is a downgrade from their old one. The Pelicans are terrible. Hate that one. Hate the Nuggets logo. I wish they went back to the old Nuggets logo. That one was sick. Suns logo is great. Minnesota Timberwolves logo. I like it, but go back to the old one. Grizzlies, same deal. I like it. Go back to the old one. Jazz, I like it. Go back to the old. Well, I guess it's not this. The one they have now is actually also the old one, but like the old one, but not the really old one for the Jazz. Yeah, man, there really isn't a whole lot of great. Oh, the Golden State Warriors. I want them to go back to the logo with the blue guy. I like the blue guy. I know they weren't very good when they had the blue guy, but I like the blue guy. Let me look that up. How bad were they really when they had the blue guy? Yeah, look at the blue guy. Love that logo. It's such a great logo. Oh, I love the blue guy. 97 to 2010. That's the dark era. It's a dark era for the Warriors. They were not good when they had the blue guy. Hold on, let me look this up. Golden State Warriors history. So we got 97 to 2010. That was when they had the blue guy logo. How bad were they in that period? Is that Will Chamberlain? Will Chamberlain play for the Warriors? What? I didn't know that. I thought he played for the Lakers. When did he play for the Warriors? Oh, okay. They were the Philadelphia Warriors. Okay. That makes more sense. All right. Let's see. 97 to 2010. Okay. So, not looking good. They made the semifinals one year. Yeah, they made the playoffs one time when they had the blue guy. That's well, it's not ideal, right? It's not ideal. You don't want that. Yeah, that's not good. They really were not good when they had the blue guy. That's brutal. That is brutal. Let's pull up, let's see who was on their 2005 roster. Let's just see if there's any names that are worth mentioning. Jason Richardson. Jace Richardson's father, as we all know. That's something. It's a name. Derek Fisher. Okay. All right. 5-time NBA champ. You know. It's Will Bynum. I don't know why that name sounds familiar. I don't know why that name sounds familiar. I guess he played for the Pistons. That's why it sounds familiar. He played 1 year and then did not play until 2008 when the Pistons brought him in. Okay. All right. Yeah, boy, they really were bad. Monta Ellis? Wait, hold on. That's a name. I mean, Monta Ellis? Anybody? No? Jeez. What were their jerseys like? Did they ever have a blue jersey for the blue guy? Gosh, this logo is so cool. How do you not like this logo? This is like the Pistons with the horse logo. It's like the horse logo is the coolest logo, and they get rid of it because the team sucked when they had the horse logo. I don't control how good the team is. It's a cool logo. Look up old Golden State Warriors jerseys. Okay, like, when was this? When was this picture taken? Because I like these jerseys. Okay, they're going to show this is through the years. Okay. Do we get, oh my gosh, this is like the worst formatted website ever. Okay, these are not, I wish these were like, okay, they are dated. 70s, 80s. Ooh, okay. Oh, there's Tim Hardaway. Oh, okay. I didn't know he played for the Warriors. All right. There's a name. Okay, they got, honestly, those 2000s Warriors jerseys, those are pretty good. Jason Richardson, yeah. Those were some good jerseys. And meanwhile, their jerseys now are just terrible. See, this is the problem. It's like, all the Warriors fans obviously are going to have a love and admiration for the 2010s because that was when they were at their peak, but their jerseys sucked, and their logo sucked. So what do you do? I guess nothing. You just say, oh, whatever. We're just going to keep the logo forever. Because here's the thing: you're stuck with that logo now. They're never changing that logo because you changed that logo. That was the logo we won with. Same thing with like the Patriots. They're never going back to Pete the Patriot or whatever. Pat the Patriot, whatever. The old guy with who's holding this, who's going to hike the ball. They're never changing back to that logo, even though that logo is way better than the current logo, because they didn't win with the old logo. They won with the current logo. That's how this works. It's the only reason I don't necessarily want the Pistons to win right now is because if they win with this logo, we're never going to change it. We're never going to get a better logo. Sucks. Anyway. By ranting and rambling about sports logos. Although the one team that is never going to change their logo is this one. They're never changing Bubbles the Lion. They're never changing Bubbles. And honestly, I wouldn't want them to change Bubbles. I wouldn't. At this point, it's like Bubbles is so iconic. Like I do kind of miss, in a weird way, when it didn't have all the detail. Although when he didn't have all the detail, it was a little hard to recognize what it was. But yeah, they're never changing Bubbles. We're stuck with Bubbles the Lion, which is fine because I want them to win with Bubbles the Lion on their helmets. If they don't win with Bubbles the Lion on their helmets, then we don't deserve to win. How about that? Anyway, let's get to the picks, right? Let's do it. All right. Favorite time of the show where we make fools of ourselves and try to attempt being smart and picking football teams to win football games. So here we go. It's the picks. Hit the music. All right. Love this song. This is great. Old school classic NFL music. All right. Week 8 in the National Football League. I don't want to talk about last week, all right? Falcons are dead to me. I will never pick them again. That's not true. I'll probably pick them again. But I won't pick them against the 49ers. Losers. Never trust them. Anyway, Thursday Night Football. We got the Vikings going up against the Chargers. Seth is taking his beloved Chargers of Los Angeles, San Diego, and I am going to agree with him. Look, tough game last week. They were playing in those uniforms, made them look like Lemonade characters. They look like the minions from Despicable Me. It's not a good look. I believe this week they're going to be doing some throwback uniforms. Could be wrong about that. I think they're going to play well. I think they're going to bounce back. The Vikings do not have a consistent offense. Carson Wentz is a football terrorist at this point. That man is... He's like a... What's the word? He's a grifter. He's managed to stay in the league for so long off the coattails. That one good season he had in Philly. It is what it is. Give me the Chargers. Dolphins at the Falcons. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Falcons, and I'm not going to elaborate on the fact that I said I was never going to forgive them. Dolphins are terrible. Fire your head coach, please. The organization is just a dumpster fire. Give me the Falcons. They're going to bounce back. Please. If you lose to the Dolphins, just fire Raheem Morris into the stratosphere. Bears against the Ravens on the road. Here's what I'm going to say. That Ravens team, that's so Raven. They don't have a defense. I don't know if Lamar Jackson is coming back. I don't know if Derrick Henry has even a care in the world about winning games at this point. I think he just wants to get on with this season and go to the offseason and do anything other than play for the Baltimore Ravens. I'll take the Bears. They're riding the wave. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. Bills. Yeah, next question. Not going to talk about this. The Panthers are terrible. Bryce Young's awful. I'm pretty sure they won this week. They won this week, but they played the Jets. Time for a get-right game in the opposite direction for the Panthers. They're going to get right by allowing the Bills to get right. So, give me the Bills. Jets are the Bengals. Yeah, give me the Bengals in this one as well. Seth is also taking the Bengals, and he's taking the Bills, by the way. We've had the same picks all throughout so far, so this is going to be interesting. The Bengals, they're not great, but the Jets might be the worst football team I've ever seen. And I feel so bad for poor Aaron Glenn. He has taken over a complete dumpster fire. He's got no quarterback. He's got nothing. He's got Garrett Wilson and friends. That's basically what he's got. That defense is bad. That offense is bad. Everything is bad. It's bad, bad, bad. Give me the Bengals. 49ers, Texans. I hate this because I have to give it to the 49ers, even though they're totally fake, and I hate them, and they got basically a hospital roster, essentially, because you could probably get all the injured players they have and put them on the field together, and you'd have 11 guys. 49ers, they're surviving. That's what they're doing. And the Texans, meanwhile, they're trying to single-handedly ruin the career of C.J. Stroud. And I feel sorry for the kid. I thought he was really good in his rookie year. And basically since then, he has just completely fallen off because the Texans have done everything in their power to make him not be successful. I don't know how that organization can run the way that it's run, but it's terrible. Give me the 49ers. Browns at the Patriots. Give me the Patriots. Seth is also taking them. I don't know if we're going to have a disagreement, to be honest with you. The Patriots, look, Drake May, he's playing well. He had a great game last week against Tennessee. Granted, Tennessee, not very good. But the Browns are very, very not good. So you would think the defense for them is going to be tough to score against, but if you can get 14 points on the Browns, you're probably going to win the game. Dylan Gabriel, if he is the quarterback of the future for Cleveland, it's going to need a lot more building. They're going to need a whole lot more. And they got a nice, set of draft picks this past year. Mason Graham, Quinshon Judkins as well. They got something going for them, and coming off of a win against Miami, maybe they can play a competitive game. But I don't see them getting the win here. Give me the Patriots. Giants at the Eagles, little rematch for Philadelphia. Seth is taking the Eagles. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles here as well. The Giants lost a football game I didn't know was possible to lose. You're up double digits, fourth quarter, last few minutes, and you managed to find a way to blow a football game in a way that literally had not happened in over 1,000 football games. Truly incredible stuff. I don't think the coaching is the right fit. Well, not the right fit. I don't think they're good. Their coaching staff is not good. Give me the Eagles. And I don't even think their coaching staff is all that good right now. But they're going to want revenge after getting embarrassed on Thursday Night Football a couple of weeks ago. Buccaneers at the Saints. Do I really need to give an explanation? All right. The Saints are terrible. Going into this year, I had them losing every single game, and they managed to win one. That might be the only one they win. The Buccaneers are far and away a better team. Granted, they lose Mike Evans now with a broken collarbone. He's done for the year. He might be done for his career, which is really unfortunate because I have always loved Mike Evans as a receiver. At least I've loved him the last few years. And the Saints have nobody. They have nothing. Chris Olave. That's the only reason you would ever want to watch them. Give me the Bucks. Cowboys at the Broncos. Seth is taking the Broncos. Ah, man. Part of me that's like, okay, I want to disagree, but I don't know if I should. I'm not gonna. I'll go with the Broncos. It's at home. The Cowboys, their offense is good. Their defense is not good, but they're going up against a really tough defense in Denver. But Denver just played a game where they really, I don't know if they should have won. They got bailed out. I don't know. I'll just go with the Broncos just to feel safe. Titans at the Colts in a game that I can only describe as my nightmare. But yeah, the Colts are going to just roll. I mean, the Titans are just fire their coach, but it appears that there's a lot more wrong with them than just their head coach. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Poor Cam Ward. He really got drafted to one of the worst spots to be drafted in. It sucks. I can't wait for him to request a trade in a few years. That's going to be tough. Packers at the Steelers on Sunday Night Football, the Aaron Rodgers rematch game. Seth is taking the Packers. I am going to disagree. We're going to have, this is going to be all right on this game, I think. I am taking the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers are very good. But I also don't think the Packers are very good. I think what we're going to see is, can the Packers continue to win games ugly like they have the last couple of weeks? Or are the Steelers, who are known for winning games ugly, going to out-ugly the Steelers or out-ugly the Packers? I believe they will. And it'll allow for the Aaron Rodgers truthers to believe that he's still an elite quarterback when he is not. But whatever allows them to continue in their delusion is going to be worthwhile. So give me the Steelers. Commanders at the Chiefs. Taking the Chiefs. Will the real Jaden Daniels please stand up? Oh, wait, he can't because he's hurt again. It's been a struggle for the Commanders. They get massacred by the Cowboys last week on America's Game of the Week. And Jaden Daniels goes down with another injury. I don't know that he is ever really going to be fully healthy this whole year. This feels a lot like what happened with Robert Griffin III. It's unfortunate, but it just seems like Washington is known for just murdering quarterbacks. So give me the Chiefs. All right, rounding it out here. Vikings, Chargers, both taking the Chargers. Dolphins, Falcons, we are both taking the Falcons. Bears and the Ravens, we're both taking the Bears. Bills and Panthers, we're both taking the Bills. Jets and Bengals, we're both taking the Bengals. 49ers, Texans, we're both taking the 49ers. Browns, Patriots, we are both taking the Patriots. Giants, Eagles, we are both taking the Eagles. Buccaneers, Saints, we're both taking the Buccaneers. Cowboys, Broncos, we are both taking the Broncos. Titans, Colts, we are both taking the Colts. Packers, Steelers, I am taking the Steelers. Seth is taking the Packers. And Commanders, Chiefs, we are both taking the Chiefs. And those are your NFL Week 8 picks. Man, that Packers Steelers game, that's gonna be awful. This week really is kind of a rough week. A lot of good teams are on the bye, namely my beloved Lions. So you're not gonna have any of that fun on the docket. But Commanders Chiefs for your Monday night game, that doesn't sound good at all. That game could be very ugly. Although the Chiefs have been turning it on as of late, so with the addition of Rashee Rice, maybe they're back. Hopefully not. All right. This game here is pretty good. Rockets and Thunder all tied up at 30 at about the midway point, or just early on into the second quarter. That's not a good pass. I don't know. He's trying to throw it to Caruso. Wasn't great. Anyway, So, a little bit of a look ahead. No live reactions this week. We're not live reacting to the Michigan State game. I have got plans that evening. I will not be live reacting. And no Lions game this week. So, no live reaction. So, we'll be back next week. We'll break down all the sporting news of the week. I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about with the Pistons in their opening few games. The Red Wings will continue, hopefully, to roll as they have. And obviously, all the NFL and college news of the week. We'll talk about it. So, if you enjoyed, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. It really does help me out, and I do greatly appreciate it. So, hopefully, we'll see you all next week, and have a good rest of your night. Take care, everybody. See ya. See you later. Bye-bye. See ya.